Welcome, welcome, welcome to today's presentation, everyone. I'm so happy to have you here with me this afternoon. Let's go ahead and get started with everything. I want to make sure I maximize your time because you took the time out your day to come and show up. We'll go ahead and go and get started.
More than 5 billion people around the world continue to struggle with money and financial illiteracy.
It's Madison Avenue manipulation, right? It's been going on for years and we buy into it.
How bad is financial illiteracy?
It's not taught in school, so people don't know this naturally.
Oh, you're right.
So you grow up not knowing anything about it. You make a lot of mistakes along the way, and we're hoping to educate them and teach them how money really works so they can learn the cause and effect of all this.
And it doesn't have to be generational.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly right.
Break that cycle.
Once you understand the basics of financial literacy, it changes your life. The secret is financial literacy. I mean, teaching your kids how money works. I think it's really understanding how money works. Once they understand the basics of how money works, they shouldn't have to struggle for very long.
Steve Siebold and Tom Matthews are the authors of How Money Works. Stop being a sucker.
Money means possibility. It means opportunity. It means freedom. Things you've always wanted to do, dreams that you have. Money makes it possible.
You know, of all the interviews we've had in the last 6 weeks, I'm actually most encouraged by that one.
So, welcome again. It's great to have you here with me this afternoon. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Shantae Moore. I'll be your financial educator for the next half hour. I'd like to welcome you to the How Money Works Elements educational series taught today on Zoom. The course is based on the groundbreaking book. The course, is based on the groundbreaking book, How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker, now with over 500,000 copies in print. And How Money Works is the first financial education book that anyone at any age can enjoy and benefit from, literally from age 10 all the way to age 100. And speaking of the number 100, the book has now been featured on over 100 prominent TV shows, including CNBC, CBS, ABC, and Fox. The How Money Works book has received a rare endorsement from the Heartland Institute of Financial Education, and it has been reviewed and referenced all over the internet, including the popular online financial publication Make It by CNBC. You can also follow How Money Works on Instagram for practical tips and helpful resources. So if you haven't received a copy of our book yet, just let me know when we finish and I'll make sure to get you one. So for our class today, it is the second of the 5 elements titled Concepts. And once you complete all 5 elements, you'll be eligible for a certificate of completion signed by the authors of the book and by myself. And the concepts, what they are they're just basically core guiding principles that have enabled millions to create financial stability and wealth. And these concepts prove that by knowing the basic building blocks of how money works, that you can truly empower yourself for a better life and future. So one of the key takeaways I want you to focus on with these concepts is that waiting is the enemy of wealth. And when it comes to growing your money, every day counts. So let's go ahead and get started. So over the 5 parts of this Elements course, we'll take you through the 7 money milestones. And this is literally your step-by-step action plan that's designed to help you chart the course from where you are today to financial security and independence, hopefully sometime soon in the very near future. And the good news is that no one is too far ahead or too far behind to actually benefit from these milestones. And the first milestone is one that you're already on your way to completing. You begun milestone number 1, which is financial education, the first element. You're becoming more financially ready with each page as you read the book. And also remember, a financial professional, in my opinion, that's the best person to turn to when you have questions on specific details specific to your financial situation. So I can discuss some options with you later if you don't have a financial professional to work with or if you need help choosing one. And really, this is just another way to say it. When we're talking about money, there's really two essential tools that you need to win. And we know that the best starting point for everyone is to combine a financial education with a financial professional. So take this education seriously. You don't learn this anywhere from school. Our parents often, unless you grew up in a wealthy household, our parents generally don't know about these things and weren't able to teach us. And our friends come from similar backgrounds and they also don't have this information. So you really want to treat your finances with the level of dedication that you put into your health. Google things, ask questions, but I would tell people all the time, turn to someone that you trust that does this for a living day in and day out. So, during today's class, we'll cover these three concepts, and each one is essential to the startup required to begin making financial decisions with confidence and to start taking action to get yourself on track with your money. So, let's talk about the first concept, which is the time value of money. So, we've all been guilty of, wasting our time away. But it's especially costly when you lose the value of your money over that time. You never get time back, or essentially, the money is also lost. And time is one of our most precious commodities. How long do you have until you pay off your car or your home, or before you have to send your kids off to college or retire? Is there a chance that you could possibly run out of money before you pass away? You really need to know these numbers. And why? Because it forces us to value the time that we have left. And there are three ways to leverage the time value of money. The first is start now, save regularly, and be patient. You gotta have some patience. I talk to people, I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter what your age is. You always just want to start now. And starting earlier as much as possible, that's always a good idea because it does make a significant difference. So, for example, in this case, we have two people who are saving money from ages 22 to age 30. Um, and is it better than saving from ages 30 to 67? Well, if you look at it, I'm sorry, the one person was saving from age 22 to 30, and the other was saving from age 30 to 67. So the person who started early was able to put away $110,000 more by saving a lot less money. So, and this is a common sense principle to understand, but it's very often ignored. The bottom line is that the longer you wait, the more you have to save later in the future to hit whatever financial goal you have. So don't wait. So here's another picture of the numbers that really breaks it down by age. So say, for example, you wanted to save $1 million for retirement by age 67. $1 million is kind of like that big it number that everyone wants to accomplish. And you can see, according to this graph, the amount of money that you need to save every month, depending on your age. So, for example, if you're age 30, you will need to save about $282 per month to have $1 million saved at retirement. But, let's say you don't start at age 30. Now you wait till you're age 40. At this point, now you need to save at least $731 per month. And at some point, you will outpace your ability to hit the monthly savings amount required. You just simply won't be able to afford it. And at that point, you'll have two choices. You either shrink your retirement dreams, or you need to find a way to earn more money and have a different source of income. So now might be a good time to start applying these principles for yourself, and really just see, what does that look like? Write down your current age, how much, and look at how much do you need to save from your previous slide. I hope you got that number. And then what happens if you wait 5 years? How fast has the last 5 years flown by for us? Everyone needs to know this information because the time right now is ticking away. So, sucker minded people, they don't ever think that it's a good time to take care of these things. They say, oh, I'll just wait until this is taken care of, or I'm done paying off my debt. Or, it's always something that they want to have accomplished before they actually tackle this, financial goal. And the reality is, wealthy minded people think very, very differently. Wealthy minded always want to get started as soon as they can, which is now, if not sooner. So let's talk about the second concept, which is one of my favorites, called the $1 million baby. Now, if you're a parent or grandparent, especially this section is really for you. Even if you're an aunt or uncle, you have nieces and nephews that you really care about, because what I'm going to talk about over the next couple of slides, it's really a dream that most parents have for their kids. They just have no way to figure out how to accomplish it. So, if you have children, or if you plan to have children, I know that I'm a mom, and my goal and my dream is to always want my children to have it better than I did, especially growing up. That's a natural desire that we have for our children. So this example that I'm going to go through, it's really reimagining how parents can leave a legacy for their kids. It's a strategy, the $1 million baby, it's a strategy that applies the power of compound interest and the time value of money in a way that makes the traditional end of life transfer, that seems so old fashioned and unnecessary. So again, I want to go and explain this $1 million baby concept. So when we think about our children that are born today, realistically, only about 20% of children out there living right now will receive some type of inheritance. And obviously, that's actually probably even lower now, because so many people have faced, so many drastic challenges just because of what happened, with the pandemic in 2020. But let's think about this. Let's say you want to save $1 million for your children and at their retirement, which is, let's look at a couple scenarios. Which of these plans is more realistic for you to do that? Now, first option is you either give them each $1 million in cash, when they're adults, because you've saved enough. Or option two is that you've actually developed a plan to save a fraction of that $1 million for each child, and you started saving a fraction of that money when they were really young. So, let's talk about this a little more. And we know it's hard for retirement age parents to preserve an inheritance for adult children, especially with seniors living longer. A lot of seniors, almost all of their savings may be required to cover their current, expenses and decades potentially of having those expenses, including medical bills and long-term care. Now, and this is a new reality of longevity, because people are living so much longer in life right now. And being that you have to live a long life, you have expenses that you have to pay for, it really, really makes it hard to even leave any type of inheritance behind, the old school way. And since it's so hard to leave an inheritance today, why not use the greatest financial asset that your child has, which is time? Remember, they're still young. We're talking about, even babies or before they were born. They have a lifetime to, that's their greatest asset that you as a parent or grandparent can leverage. Because again, they have an entire life of that time still ahead of them. So let's talk about, maybe using that power of compounding interest that was taught in the first elements class. How could you apply the power of compounding for your child over a 67-year time frame for when they become old and reach retirement age? So let's just take a look at those numbers, and how can we do that? So the concept, the $1 million baby strategy, it leverages three simple money concepts. Number one, the power of compounding interest, where your money grows on top of each other. It grows and grows. The time value of money, and wealth protection. And this is one of my favorite quotes. Nelson Henderson said, "The true meaning of life is to plant trees under whose shades you do not expect to sit." So you could use the money principles that you've learned today to save $1 million for your child or your grandchild. It's really easier than you think. And the following are examples, because I like to show numbers. These are some examples of different scenarios on how you could potentially save that amount of money for your children or your grandchildren. And again, these are all hypothetical. So in this first example, Dana is a mom. She has a little girl. And Dana decides that she wants to put away $13,000 one time for her daughter at her daughter's birth. So mind you, her daughter is a baby, brand new baby. And she wants to have that money saved in some place until her daughter turns age 67. And in our example, she's growing that money at a 6.5% interest rate, to accumulate and earn over $1 million. Now, let's say Dana didn't do this right away, and she didn't put that money at birth, and she just waited till her daughter graduated from high school. If she had that same $13,000 and she let it grow, instead of being at birth, now she waited to age 18. Now, instead of getting $1 million, it would have only grown to just about $300,000 when she turned 67. So that 18-year difference is huge, as opposed to her starting when she was a baby, from her waiting until she was in high school. So let's look at Hector. His situation is a little different. Hector's like, I don't have $13,000 sitting around, but he still wants his son to retire with $1 million. So him and his relatives, they decide to work together. They said, you know what? We are going to come up with $2,500 now. And then over the next 4 years, every single month, we're also going to save an additional $250 per month. And then, just like magic, they hit the $1 million goal too. His son was also able to retire with $1 million waiting for him. Now, let's look at this again. What if Hector decides to do the same strategy, but instead of doing it at birth, he waits until his son turns 18? So it's really the same story as Dana, as she had waited, and it's much, he gets much less. He doesn't get $1 million. It's just a little over $300,000 again. So, we're developing actually right now a calculator that will help allow you to play with the numbers and to see what that might look like. But in the meantime, work with your financial professional and they can help you decide which strategy works for you and how much money you could put away now. 250 children are born every minute, and they could live a very different life if their parents or grandparents did this for them when they were young. So, and now you can see why we call this strategy the $1 Million Baby. Just imagine how appreciative your kids will be one day, perhaps when you're gone, that you as their parent or grandparent thought about their future, you knew how money works, and you acted in love to take care of them. That's a thank you that could change your legacy forever. So once again, sucker-minded people, they leave it all to chance. They really don't leave anything behind for their children. As the quote says there, I hate to say it, but my kids will probably have to fend for themselves. They'll be lucky if I don't end up moving into their basement, and I'm sure that's not what you want. But on the other hand, wealthy-minded people, they realize what a dream come true it would be if they could do that for their family. They think differently. If there's an affordable way for me to set up my kids to be taken care of in their later years, me and my family, we will do that. We would make sure to get it done. So, are you having fun? We're going through this pretty quickly, but these are really power punch classes, and we're closing in on today's class. But here's my favorite part. This is the last concept to talk about, and it's the time, to talk about the rule of 72. Have any of you ever heard of it before? That's a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer. I know that all of my education and schooling before I got into this industry was in accounting and finance, and I never heard of the rule of 72. And imagine people who had no business or, accounting or finance background, would they have ever learned it? Probably not. But anyway, the rule of 72, it's a little known mental math shortcut that wealthy people have used for years. And I'm going to teach it to you because I believe that everyone should know it. So first of all, it's a mental math shortcut to determine how long it will take your money to double depending on wherever you're saving your money. So it's a math calculation. You simply divide any interest rate that you're earning into the number 72, and then it will tell you how long it takes for your money to double. It works for you if you save your money. Now, it could also work against you if you borrow your money. Now, what does that mean? When you borrow money, you have to pay interest as well, right? Let's say you borrowed $10,000. Whatever that interest rate is divided into 72, and if you're making bare bones minimum payments, the money that you owe will probably double and quadruple a lot quicker than you could pay it off. So that's what we talk about. That could work for you and it could also work against you. But I want to talk about how it works for you in terms of you actually saving your money. So at 1%, 72 divided by 1, it takes 72 years for $1 to turn into $2. Now, that's a really long time. Now, if you knew that, would you knowingly choose that on purpose? Now, keep that question in mind. I'm going to come back to it in a little bit. But let's look at some different options, some other, examples. As you can see, the better rate of return, the better interest that you earn, the faster you could get your money to double. At 3%, we're talking every 24 years, at 6%, every 12 years, at 9%, every 8 years, and at 12%, that's every 6 years. That's more like it. As you can see, the higher the interest rate, the quicker your money will double. And here's another way to look at it, in terms of the number of doubles that you could have, over your lifetime. At 1%, you'll be lucky, if you live long enough to get at least one double. At 6%, you can have four doubles. And at 12%, it could be as many as 8 doubles. Each double is twice the money. So every double really counts. And remember that question I asked about that 1% interest rate? Would anyone choose 72 years to double? Yeah, they do. Because a lot of people, they don't know how money works. And there's almost $10 trillion sitting in savings accounts that average 0.09%. That's just a fraction of 1%. So it was funny because when CNBC did a review of our book, a few months ago, this is one of the things that they pointed out to be, the almost unbelievable. That many, if you look at even just the other banks that are listed here, a lot of them offer even less than 0.09%. You might see your bank on that list. So when we look at, what does that equate to? Oh, sorry here. Okay, here we go. So when we look at, having an average rate of return at 0.09%, if you divide that into 72, you're looking at 800 years for your account to double. And that's by the year 2820. So as George says, his great grandchildren will love it. And just so we're clear, let's think about banks and how they work. The bank, which is the same place that gives you 0.09% for your savings, will turn around and charge you 17% or more for a credit card. And that means that their money doubles every 4 years, because they're earning money off of the money that you give them. So now you see why the subtitle of the book is Stop Being a Sucker, because you need to know how money works today, not tomorrow. You need to know today. And of course, the bank, they'll give you a little lollipop. You know how you come in and you write your little deposit slip. And what do they have waiting for you right at the, at the cashier's, the desk? They have a little bowl of lollipops, a little suckers. And what is that sucker brand name? Dum Dums. Yes. I can't make it up. It's like they're trying to tell you, but you just don't know the code. Take it how how it resonates, but am I not? Am I lying? I'm not. But you can also look at this to figure out, what return that you'll need for a savings goal, or what a loan will cost you. So again, this is not the time to be sucker-minded. This is the time to apply the rule of 72 to all your finances, like wealthy-minded people do. Suckers, they'll look at the rule of 72 and be like, oh, that sounds like some really boring math. Wealthy people think differently. They'll be like, wow, that rule of 72, that's simple, that's powerful, that's practical. And they obviously use it to take advantage of increasing their finances. So as we wrap up today's course, principles that I just talked about, and obviously I went through them super fast. This is super high level, but oftentimes these things will bring up questions, like the ones that you see here on the screen. Should you use a bank account? What are other safe options? Should you refinance a loan at a lower rate? What can you do to help make more doubles possible? And a financial professional, again, that's the best person to turn to for questions like these and others. And we can discuss this with you if you don't have one, or if you need help choosing one. And I just want to wrap up and talk about what we're doing here. Our mission is to teach 20 million families how money works within the next decade. So, our goal is we will step out financial illiteracy in every community. And that's a huge undertaking, and one where we need an army of thousands of how many works educators. So if you're interested, we are looking for people to help us teach these classes. That's where you could come in, or somebody that you know who might be interested in doing what I do. Let me know. I'll be happy to have a conversation with them. But how do we do that? How do we teach people? So we teach them through courses like this, and then we also offer solutions. You know, when we go through courses like this, I tell people all the time, think about which concept resonated with you the most. That's why we started on this mission of eradicating financial literacy. And we want to help you start taking control of your finances. And the first way that we do that is by helping you fill out what's called this money discovery worksheet. So part of attending this course is we can help you if you don't have a financial professional yet. Remember, I said I will tell you how we can help. And this works like driving directions on your mobile phone. You just need 2 points of reference, where you are and where you want to go. And the same is true when it comes to your finances. So the How Money Works Money Discovery, it's in the book. It's actually in the back of the book if you have the book. The How Money Works Discovery can actually help you take care of that. If you don't have the book yet, you can contact me and I can send you a PDF copy of this also. So again, please make sure you discuss these concepts and review these milestones with a financial professional. And especially if you don't currently have one to turn to, at least you're on this webinar and you're getting educated, which again is the first milestone of the 7 money milestones, is getting that financial education. And since you've hopefully read the How Money Works book by now, shame on you if you haven't. But, having that book, you already are starting down the path of learning how money really works. And I can help you walk through the other 6 milestones. I do that in 2 simple steps. The first is what I call a discovery phone call. And that's why I spend about 15 minutes just kind of chatting with you, identifying where you are now in your financial life, and most importantly, where you want to go. And then I'll spend a few days with my team, crunching numbers. We'll review your How Money Works, your discovery worksheet, and we'll just start searching the financial industry for the best products and services to meet your needs. So I kind of play like that middleman for you. I'll be helping you identify the ones that best fit your current situation and your future goals, and most importantly, your budget. And then finally, we'll have a screen share. We'll get on a Zoom meeting just like this, where I'll walk you through the steps that I recommend that you should take to achieve your financial goals. So I encourage you, do not procrastinate. Let's work together and build your financial foundation by putting your money to work today. So if you like what you've learned today, and you would like more information, again, you can follow How Money Works on Instagram at How Money Works Official for more practical tips and helpful resources. But until then, if you have any questions, you'll find contact information for me in the description box below. And I hope that you have a great weekend. Okay, bye now.